I've been reading books of old, the legends and the myths, Achilles and his...
Hey y'all, good morning. I'm out here on the back deck of Nautical Landings Marina. You guys already know that I love the back deck for a couple of reasons. One, there's always action going on back there. There's not right now, but yesterday it was bustling a lot. And there's another reason. I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but it's true. My office is a mess. Isn't that right, Shelly?
Yes.
Shelly's over there. She won't get on camera, but she's over there, and she walked in on this video, and she knows how messy our office is. It's true. There's a lot of work that goes on here, but there's a lot of mess that goes on here too. But back to the task at hand. This week is National Engineering Week. Not Engineering Week, Engineers Week. It is National Week where you celebrate engineers, and there is so much. Everything we do, everything we're around has been engineered in some way, shape, or form. I got to visit with three ladies. They're all civil engineers, and talk to them a little bit about what they do in their daily jobs and how they became engineers. And the focus of that was because Thursday is Girls' Day as part of National Engineering Week. I also have an engineer in my life. He's my husband that is the only person that probably watches this video on YouTube because he doesn't do any other social media. But he's got YouTube down, so he watches this video, and I think he is the only person on YouTube that watches it. So, you know, if you're a YouTube fan, you can watch me over there. Or not.
Just something I can turn to, somebody I can miss. I want something just like this.
Okay, guys, we are here on the back deck of O'Neill's today. Just kind of looking at the sights. Can you guys see those sights out there? Look at those birds. But this is an interesting week. This is National Engineers Week, and along with that, there is Girls' Day. Girls' Day is this Thursday, focusing on females in engineering. And to that end, I am here with three very dynamic ladies, all of them engineers, all of them civil engineers, and I'm going to have them tell you a little bit about what they do, who they are, how they got where they are, and all the good things. We'll start with you, Jody.
Okay. Well, I've been a civil engineer for, get this, almost 42 years now. Been doing this a long time. And when I started, women in engineering wasn't all that prominent. In fact, women working in the workforce wasn't all that prominent. But I graduated in 1980, and there was more women getting into engineering, and I've been doing this and love it for 42 years. I'm a civil. I've done a little bit of everything over my career, working with municipalities is what I am doing now, and actually I'm the city engineer. Should never get rid of that hat, but I'm the city manager, working with the city right now, and using a lot of what I learned as an engineer in that capacity. Oh, there we got some noise going on right there. But, anyway, look, let's move on and see what else we got going on here.
Okay. RP, tell us a little bit about you and who you are.
Morning, guys. So my name is Arpita, and people usually call me RP. But I am actually from India, South India, and I have come here to United States to pursue my master's 16 years ago. Got my degree and graduated, got a job, and I've been a civil project engineer for almost 13 years now. So why civil, right? Because since I was young, I was very much into tinkering, into building stuff. So that's what really pulled me towards the civil, even though my dad didn't like me to be a civil engineer because his thought was, oh, you have to go in the field, you have to work hard, you're a girl, why do you want to do that and all that? But I was very adamant. I said, no, this is what I want to do. And this is what gives me happiness. So anyway, so I have been with Formosa Plastics for almost 13 years now, and going strong, I guess, hopefully. but I love every day at work, and it's challenges every day. But who doesn't have challenges, right? Everybody does. But it's just a different scale of challenges. Me, as engineer, I'm the first girl in my family to have a master's degree in engineering, that too in a civil engineer, right? So it's very shocking to my family and everybody that, oh, she wanted to do civil engineering. But I was like, so what? I want to do that. So anyway, so that's a little bit about my background. But there's one interesting thing I need to tell you. So in the Asian culture, the education has been such a prominent thing that when I was 2 years old, my mom and dad, they taught me to tell everybody whenever they asked me, what do you want to become? I was 2 years old. They already taught me to tell them, oh, I want to become an engineer. I'm like, I didn't even know what an engineer meant, right? So it was already embedded in my mind that I need to become one. There's no option. So anyways, I'm very thankful to my parents and my family for supporting me, and it's been a wonderful journey. So we'll move on to Felicia.
Hi, Felicia. Now tell them a little bit about what you do.
Okay, my name is Felicia Harrell, and I have been an engineer probably over 25 years now. I originally come out of a small town in California and went to school out there and worked my way through school. So I had a lot of experience doing the engineering before leaving school, but I think it's one of the best things I've done. So the education I had was really a lot more about practical learning, and I'm almost the opposite of RP, where she liked to tinker and put things together. I actually like to tear things apart and see how they worked. And so when you do the one, you have to do the other. So it was really curiosity and why things were doing what they did. I started out actually in physics because that was just kind of that thing, is tearing things apart. Why do they do things? How do they work? And then engineering is kind of application of that science. It's like, what do you do with that once you know those things? So engineering I knew it was obvious that's the direction I was headed. When I left school, I ended up working in consulting. So I've done a little bit of also, like Jody, I've done a little bit of everything. I'm the master of none, but I've done every job I manage. I manage someone, I've done it at some point. I've done drafting, I've done surveying, I've done permitting, all the things that a civil engineer does. And worked in consulting for 10 years with some of the biggest firms and some small firms. And then I went to go work for ExxonMobil. My background in civil engineering, which you may hear, it has a lot of things. It's really about water transport, and which works into environmental. And so I went to go work for ExxonMobil, which was a very fun job to have. Very difficult and very fun, almost even like RP saying, I need some challenges. Life is just too boring to not be challenged all the time. And so worked for them for 10 years and left to go work for FEMA. I feel like I was giving back, but I found that after working for ExxonMobil, FEMA got to be a little not as challenging as I was hoping it would be. And someone came and I work actually at the Port Authority now here on port work and landside work, and they were looking for someone to come down to Port Lavaca, and I'm very glad I did. Glad to be a part of this community, which is wonderful. Yes.
Tell us, and it could be any of you, a little bit about the type of projects that a civil engineer would do.
There's a wide variety of projects civil engineering is involved in, from streets, drainage, to figure out why things flood and what to do so they don't flood. We involved structures as part of civil engineering, designing buildings, and any kind of the structures that hold up the electrical lines that transport electricity from place to place. Those are designed by civil engineers. What else?
What's something you're working on right now?
Well, water and sewer. Water lines, water distribution systems, sewer collection systems, wastewater plants, water treatment plants. All that civil engineering. There's
Someone has told me an easy way to describe it is things that don't move when they're put in.
Yes.
So roadways don't move, hopefully.
Right.
Bridges
Yeah.
don't move.
Right.
Buildings don't move.
That's good. Yeah.
Water's meant to move, but the structures you put in to hold those or to transport those shouldn't be moving either.
Right.
So the foundation of what we do.
Foundations, right? And like some of the fun stuff we're doing, like the park improvements that's going on right now down at Bayfront, all that civil engineering, laying out the walking path and making sure like I said, everything drains and the elevations are such that it's safe for people to walk and that sort of thing.
Now, you guys are all three civil engineers, but you work with a variety of other type engineers. And can you tell everybody some of those that you work with?
So you work with a lot of different
Yeah, so since I work in a petrochemical plant, so I have to work with different engineers to make a project successful. So civil, like Jody and Felicia said, we are the foundation, right? So anything about the ground, civil gets involved. But after that, after the foundation is set, you gotta set the equipment, you gotta connect the piping, you gotta connect the electricity, and you need to make sure everything is working right. So that's where the mechanical comes in picture on the piping. For the electricity, the electrical engineer comes in picture. For the valves or the PLCs, the instrument comes in picture. So I have learned a lot with this, working with a lot of engineers of different forms, or I don't know how to put it, but
Specialties.
Specialties. So I've learned a lot. There's a lot more to learn. And civil is, as long as we all come together, is only we can make the project successful. Not one engineer can make anything successful, right? So it's like the teamwork between the engineers to make it, success. So that's what I deal with every day on my projects at Formosa Plastics. But since Jody is on the city side and Felicia on the different sector, it's very different challenges for them too.
If you had one piece of advice for a young woman looking at pursuing engineering, what would it be? I caught them off guard with this, guys.
Well, I think, first, if you've got any interest in math or science, definitely take a look at engineering because it's fun. There's, it's discovering things and it's problem solving. Put it down basic. That's what engineering is problem solving, and that is fun. We think it's fun, and there's civil engineering in particular can give you an opportunity to literally travel the world. Felicia's been all over the place. I can tell you I'm not that type of person. I'm more of a homebody, but some of the opportunities that I had coming out of college would have taken me literally around the world. I had interviewed for Halliburton, and they, the main reason why I didn't stay or go back to the second interview is they couldn't tell me where I was going to be year one, and I was going to be all over the world. That's not what I was looking for, but some people are. There's tremendous opportunity, challenges, and the pay's not bad either.
So if Jody has really, composed it well enough for, why women or anybody wants to become an engineer. But from my side, I can tell you, if I could do it, you can do it. So go for it.
One of the things I've run into, and I've talked to a lot of young women, Girl Scouts and things like that, but I think we need to apply it to young men and women.
Sure.
And that a young man can do it just as well as a young woman. But I think it seems daunting sometimes when people think of math or science. But what engineering does is help math and science make sense. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of, maybe instead of being daunted or being intimidated, be curious. And it may not come easy at first, but as you see that you get through these trials and you figure things out, it is very rewarding and it's not as intimidating.
And I think, but we're trying to encourage more women so they're not afraid of it.
Yes.
Because a lot of people think, well, that's a man's field. Right. And increasingly more women are getting into the field. I know when I went to school, there was roughly, there were 7 women in my graduating class of about 100. so around 7%. And I think today that percentage is closer to 15, maybe even 20 in some places. So there's still room, it's still mainly men, but there's women coming up, and we just want to encourage the young girls to really seriously think about it.
Thank you, ladies.
All right,
thank you.
I told y'all they were great. Weren't they great? They are some special ladies within our community that do a lot. A couple of other things I did this week is I walked the park behind me, the one I always talk about that y'all have heard about again today. So I walked to that. I also went to the George Street project, and here I'm going to let you check a little bit of that out. So I'm here at the George Street project. They are redoing this road from Virginia to Commerce Street. Didn't get anybody to talk on camera with me because, well, nobody wanted to talk on camera with me. I think I intimidate a few people. Anyway, I wasn't meaning to do that, but they wouldn't talk to me. So here we are. Here's the project. It's, again, from Virginia Street to Commerce Street, and is going to finish up at some point within the next few months. I'm not quite sure. They talked about maybe doing curbs next. That's what I did get from the people that would talk to me. And I know that it's going to be complete in a few weeks. Okay, finally, I did talk to, well, I didn't exactly go see him, but I did have him send me a clip. That guy at the paper, the one that thinks Tanya's tidbits should be JT's tidbits. He sent me a little information about what's going on in the Port Lavaca Wave this week.
Hey, this is JT Strasner with the Port Lavaca Wave, filling you in this week on what we got in the paper. Black History Celebration was held at George Adams Park. Good time had by all. The Port Lavaca City Council has moved to look at reducing some speed limits in residential areas, so you'll definitely want to read about that. The city and county are also working together on recycling and marketing plans. And some injured sea turtles were released from the winter storm, were released at Bob Hall Pier recently. There's a big pancake supper coming up March 1st. And in sports, we had 11 sand crabs from the football team that were named to all-district first team. Another group that were named second team and honorable mention. So read all about those guys. Really proud of their accomplishments. Looking ahead to this week, there's going to be the sand crab relays here Thursday. Field events start at 2:30, so you want to be out there for that. We've got our usual slate of church page, entertainment, obits, classifieds, you name it. Still looking for someone to tell me what they can get for 75 cents. Maybe some candy, some small pieces, but nothing good as a local paper. Thanks, and we'll see you again next week.
And now I'm going to wrap up with my walk at the park and my thoughts along with that. So today I walked a little bit down this walkway. I should have really gone up here and showed you guys where I started. But in essence of time, I won't show you it all because I'm sure I'll catch this at another video as well. But looking at this walkway, it's great. I walked down here, since we're talking about engineering, and this features somewhat on engineering, I was looking at the construction and then also wearing my events hat thinking, okay, well, we can park here, we can put the stage here. And then I came down here, and as I'm walking down here, I'm looking and I'm thinking, oh, that looks really, really nice. Look at that sidewalk and those pylons and everything else. And then my brain took over and I thought, okay, this is our rock pond. How am I going to get the rocks to the rock pond? And so I'm going to need some of my engineering friends to figure this out for me, because come May or June, I am going to need to get a load of rocks right in here for skipping into the bay as part of Rock Festival. And now I've got all these little pilings in the way. So I'm wondering, how hard is it to pull a piling? Y'all know? I guess it's not very hard. Maybe we can pull a piling to bring a load of rocks in. I don't know. Jody, if you're listening to this, you're going to have to figure this one out for me because we need rocks. Like over there, towards the water. Right there. I'm going to have to get some rocks there. Help me figure this out, guys. Okay, so there you have it. That's it. That's it around town this week. National Engineers Week. If you have a favorite engineer, know an engineer, are married to an engineer, have an engineer that you're related to, anything like that, tag them in this post, put their name down below, and we'll wish them hello. And if you have any other special weeks that you'd like me to cover, let me know. I came inside to the messy office because it is cold, it is windy, it is yucky out there. Stay in if you can, and y'all have a great week.
I've been reading books of old, the legends and the myths, Achilles and his gold, Hercules and his gifts, and Spider-Man's control, and Batman with his fist. And clearly I don't see myself upon that list, but she said, where'd you want